Welcome to the finals in the Thanksgiving tournament. Here we have TheProtoss versus raaar. It looks like TheProtoss is starting with some beam fighters, some spinal, demi-spinal beam fighters. In this tournament, the regular uh, spinal mounts have been disabled. raaar has these fighters, these slow fighters with sidewinders and autocannons. So they have a little more range than these light beam fighters. And he also has this carrier behind it with some flak and some spinal flak. And he also has this spinal orb ship with a lot of damage mods. And then we have this artillery ship, which is gonna. It looks like we had the first kills. This is a sidewinder ship that's fast. It's able to go in and give a volley of fire and do quite a bit of damage. It's an harassment unit. And it looks like, yeah, raaar is gonna stand off and wait for the Protoss to advance. That's his usual playstyle, that he waits for the opponent to come to him while he makes a lot of armored ships. And in this case, he's actually also having this harassment ship that's gonna be able to deal damage pretty safely. It do take some damage there. It doesn't have a lot of health, so you have to be careful about the health on ships like this if you want to make cost. He also has this cap ships, this slow armored ship, and it looks to be doing pretty fine by itself. It's a pretty cheap ship, so it has done its damage. And we can see here that raaar is keeping to harass the enemy, and yeah, that might force the Protoss to him, and that's what raaar wants. He wants the opponent to come to him. And it looks like the Protoss is moving in here. He has a lot of torpedoes behind this and these brawler autocannon ships. And yeah, he probably doesn't want to take too much damage on this artillery ship. He has a lot of regeneration and wants to keep doing damage while the fight's going on. And the fight's gonna start. It looks like... yeah. Oh, and raaar forgets? No, he doesn't forget. He keeps his micro up. All the brawlers are moving up, and these orbs are firing. All of them are firing, and this ship is soaking up a lot of damage. It should be firing all the time, and it goes down, but it deals quite a bit of damage. And looks like raaar is going for flak. That's an interesting choice against this. These are well armored and has a lot of TPS still, so it's a decent choice and still multi-hit ships. And it looks like, yeah, it's pretty even. Can he get down this ship? It's pretty even. It's all really low on energy. And this ship still has a lot of health, so he could still kill the ship, but it also has shields, which is regenerating from these flagships. Is he gonna be able to punch through the shields here? No, the regeneration is too big, but it still has some more fighters coming in. They're all using all the money, so this might be Protoss. He needs to get a kill here if he wants to have a chance. And he gets the kill. That's almost a reset. He's a bit behind because raaar still has these carriers, they're still pretty expensive ships, and they can still fight off fighters just fine by their own. So now it's the Protoss choice if you want to. He should consolidate here and stop making fighters. He can't contest it against his flagship with these spinal fighters. These demi-spinal flak has too long range to be able to contest with regular fighters, or even long-range demi-spinal fighters like this. So now it's the raaar is in the lead, but he's still having a few less points. So it's a good choice of the Protoss to deny these cost effectively if he can, and that's pretty cost effective. So if he can deny capturing cost effectively here, that's a good thing for him while he builds up some income. That way he can still get back in the game and he's starting to save up money. But now he can't contest against these flagships, so he's still gonna try to contest point, and that's a good idea. Trading points means income is going up, but he doesn't want to let the whole map to raaar without being able to take back the points. And his fighters are mostly out of energy, and he chooses to go for an artillery ship. And that can surely beat down these flagships, but raaar will have time to respond, but he's already spent all his cash, so the question is what he's doing with that. He's trying to contest the map and take the map, but that's gonna give the Protoss time to come back here. It's look like we have a reset basically. And yeah, the Protoss now has some. He's gonna kill this flagship probably. He probably wants to spread out even more. And yeah, raaar is reinforcing, and that's still a decent trade for the Protoss, and he's gonna be able to take this point. But he's gonna retreat in front of this flagship because he was too bunched up and he didn't want to lose his fighters. So he should probably retreat. I don't think he has enough energy to punch through this. Ah, that's not cost effective at all. Yeah, he ran out of energy. And that's cheeky. He do take some damage though, so that's not really worth it. These fighters are really fast, but they're also pretty expensive. So yes, 2 of these fighters for the cost of one of those flagships, you have to be really careful with how you trade. So that's not a cost-effective trade for the Protoss, but at least he takes back the points. And it looks like raaar has saved up some money and he opted for this orb ship again, this orb spiner ship. So it looks like it's gonna creep out to halfway across the map, and the points are equally divided, so the income should be equal now. And it looks like raaar is gonna contest this point again. And yes, they don't really have anything saved up here, but I think raaar is still a bit in the lead. The Protoss made these kind of expensive fighters, and I'm not sure if he can get much done here. He can't really. He really needs to avoid the point defense and the flak, which is pretty hard to do. You can do it, but yeah, he took some damage there, and that's basically not. That's pretty bad on these expensive fighters. So yeah, most of raaar stuff has flak, and these ones have short range flak, so you can't outmaneuver them. You would take damage that way. You could only basically outmaneuver this ship, but it also has a shield, so you first have to punch through the shields before you actually do some damage. And yes. So he has this very cheap minimal carrier, which follows around and regenerates a fighter and has no other fighters. Yeah, that's not a cost-effective trade. He lost 2 fighters against this single fighters. That's about 3 times the cost. So it looks like, yeah, now the Protoss is feeling a bit behind and he's staying back, which, yeah, he is behind a bit. And it looks like the Protoss is still gonna advance, and I'm not sure he's gonna focus on this ship. I think he should focus on this ship first, maybe. It doesn't have a shield, so you can kill it without the shield regenerating. These carriers still providing a lot of energy to the ship for the shields, but he's doing a lot of damage. But he's switching target to this ship now, and it's going through while the fighters are trying to flank, but they're not doing too much damage. And yeah, these ships are out of energy now, and they're out of HP as well. So they punched through half of this big ship, and they got the other one. And it's almost dead. You could finish it off, but it's not quite enough to finish it off. And these fighters are coming in, and this artillery ship doesn't have too much health, so... But they punch through and kill the orb ship. I don't think that's enough though. It's still gonna be favoring raaar here. And the Protoss surrenders. He was too far behind after losing all those ships, while raaar retained his carrier throughout the whole game. GG.